I said, don't stand there. Come in. How are you, everybody? It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. Welcome to a late night Wednesday chill out and relax stream. I, of course, am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live, loud and clear on a Tuesday evening. And hello, everyone. I hope you're doing just fine and dandy. Kyle was not feeling 100% ready to go. So this is what you got. This is what you're stuck with. No agenda, all talk, all fun. We don't have any guests. We don't have any games to play. I'm not even ready to deep dive. That's going to be tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we're going to look at something really cool, something fun. St. Cuthbert Open Bar is basically how I describe you guys throw your TTRPG questions at me or suffer the consequences of not asking me anything, where I hold forth on all topics relative to classic TTRPGs and just everything in between. Kyle Johnson, right out of the chute, has a topic he would like to bring up. So Kyle, just go ahead and super me $50 and we'll address your topic. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Don't you dare do that. I do not charge for questions and answers. If you guys ever donate, buy me a coffee, subscribe to me on Patreon, or become a channel member, that is entirely on your recognizance. But before we get to your question, Kyle, and you know what, I'm gonna give it a star. I'm gonna peel a little gold star and I'm gonna stick it to yours, and we're gonna come back to you in just a second. Before we get to your question, guys, if you've just stopped by, if you haven't done so already, would you please do me a favor and click the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications, and that will really help things out around here. We're at 7,334 subscriptions. We've had quite the jump, and I appreciate it, guys, really, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. I strive to bring you guys good content every night of the week. Even if I don't have a plan, good stuff can arise. Sometimes I'll drag somebody kicking and screaming onto the show. Sometimes I've got things all nice and neatly planned out. I've got a guest, I've got this, I've got that. And sometimes, you know, we just go with it. We just go with the flow. Because that's really, if you go back to 2020, and like the first video I ever did on Facebook is on YouTube, is on my YouTube channel here. You can see how it's evolved and how it hasn't evolved. You know, it's like, it's always been about chilling out and having fun. The guests, the live plays, those are the exceptions, not the rules, although you might not realize that going forward. But this is what I like to do. I like to connect with you guys. I like to hang out with you guys and discuss matters of import with you guys. Kyle's taking a while to type his question, which is very cool. Take your time. But generally speaking, I just like to hang out and have fun. Now, tomorrow night, I do have something in mind for a deep dive. It's a physical thing that I'm excited about. Gonzalo, hello, good to see you out there, my friend Gonzalo. In case you guys don't know, Gonzalo plays first edition AD&D with us on the live stream on Tuesday nights. He's a joy to have at the tabletop. Like to have some warm bodies filling those armored boots out there. And it's not just about anybody, but it is about connecting with cool people. And Lord knows Gonzalo is doing a great job, in that front. And I gotta give a special thanks to Gonzalo too, because he's out there. He's pounding the pavement. All right. He is hitting the mattresses, as it were. working it, because if you guys came in and you saw like the lovely film, the intro credits, and you're like, should there be something up here? Is his audio screwed up? No, it's not. And yes, it is. I need to get new music for the intro, and Gonzalo, bless him, is trying to help make that happen. And thank you so much. I didn't know there were going to be so many people, Robert. I'm strapped. Okay. So Kyle has his question here, and I have an answer for it, which I wish I still had my copy, because I would actually consider deep diving this awful thing. Ever heard of a 1981 fantasy wargaming? Stumbled upon it as a bookstore, and it reignited your love for classic RPGs. Outsider art. I think that is probably the best description ever for fantasy wargaming. The unfortunate reality is the author of fantasy wargaming, and I think I could be wrong about this. Somebody check me on that. I think his name was Steve Jackson. That's like 4 Steve Jacksons in tabletop RPGs that we would have had. He actually died in a traffic accident shortly after that book was published. We'll never see a sequel or anything to it, but it is definitely outsider art. It is difficult. It is a difficult book. It's not good. I don't recommend you add to it looking to mine it for ideas. I'm going to make an exceptionally ugly comparison. And people are going to get mad at me about this. I hope not. Particularly grave walkers. I want to be very careful when I make this comparison. Philosophically, from a design standpoint, from a philosophical mindset of the creators, not socially, God certainly not with most of the rules, it reminds me the most of Fatal. Hear me out. It is outsider art. I think the creator was not fully wrapping his head around the nature of fantasy RPGs. Fucking A. Thank you, Gonzalo. Thank you for the tenor. And it looks like proper banner ups for that are there. But fantasy wargaming is it's an art. It is an art. And it is very much an outsider art. It's just weird, man. It's just weird. It's like medieval bestiaries and then a set of mechanical. I don't know that the author of fantasy wargaming understood how to make game mechanics. I almost feel like with fantasy wargaming, there is a cargo cult, like pretend to play, or rather acting out the motions of playing a role-playing game. He was acting out the motions of designing a role-playing game without really understanding it. And let me explain to you guys, if you don't know what a cargo cult is. And by the way, Jess, I want to answer your question in just a minute. So, yes, I agree with you. The cover art for fantasy wargaming is great. No, and I don't disagree with you, Kyle. That feeling of I could make something better than this. That is why we got Tunnels and Trolls. Tunnels and Trolls was very much the game's creator sitting down and playing D&D and thinking that Gary was a big meanie head and that he could do 100% better. And so he created Tunnels and Trolls. Tunnels and Trolls is fun for like 3 sessions. I mean, it's fun for more than 3 sessions, but like you're not going to play like a years long domain level. I took my character from, a level 0 Hobbit all the way up through demigod, like in Tunnels and Trolls. It's just not. And I think the profligate number of solo pre-programmed dungeons in Tunnels and Trolls speaks very much to this is not the scale of D&D. Hello, RPG Grandma. But to go back to what I was saying about fantasy wargaming, and cargo cults. I was going to explain cargo cults to you guys. So, particularly in New Guinea and the islands around it during the Second World War, the U.S. military showed up, built veritable small towns. They paved roads. They built semi-permanent buildings. You had soda fountains, movie theaters, and you had tons and tons and tons and airfields and ports of cargo coming in multiple times a day to keep the few hundred or thousand troops on there ready and supplied and that sort of thing. There were first contact natives on those islands. And they watched, and not just the United States, but the British as well. They watched all this stuff come in. Autumn of 1945, they're gone. They're gone. They're not like it's a slow drawdown. There's guys from Kansas, Florida, New Mexico, Oregon, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Alabama, Tennessee, Ohio, Michigan. They don't want to sit out there on what is essentially another planet. So they just pull up stakes and leave. Now the natives that have seen all this going, a lot of them, not all of them, plenty of them and more than a few of them sussed it out. They're like, those are big canoes made of metal. We get that now. Okay, all right, we get it. We're feeling you. You're bringing us up to speed pretty fast. But there were some tribes who saw these and they literally thought they were gods. And they saw how the U.S. troops behaved. They saw how the British troops behaved, what have you. And when they pulled up stakes, like they were here on Wednesday, it's Friday, they're gone now. I mean, gone. Not like there's a few of them loading up. They're gone. Well, all of those modern conveniences went with them. The soda fountains, the electric lights, the generators, the movie theaters, the Jeeps, the airplanes. Some of these more isolated tribes would go through the routines that they had observed of the American troops as a kind of obedience to these otherworldly celestial beings. Some of them thinking for years, if we keep doing this, they'll come back and bring all this cargo with them, and share it with us again. So they'd get sticks. They'd get in marching formations like morning drills like U.S. troops would. Some of them even built structures out of bamboo and reeds and stuff that looked like cargo airplanes and arranged them on the runways. that is yeah, exactly, Robert Phillips. They'll come back with more Coca-Cola. Very true. That is so true. Even if you were making a joke, you don't know how true that is. That's what a cargo cult is. They didn't understand that the big metal canoe or the big shiny strange rock canoe and the great shiny birds that came out of the sky and so on. They didn't understand that there's a process between having that on the ground and a plane being built in Washington State and flown island hopping across and then filled with cargo. They just worshiped the idea of this stuff showing up. And where we go back to fantasy wargaming with this is the designer of fantasy wargaming had a very cargo cult mentality. I don't think he fully apprehended the process of the creation of Dungeons and Dragons and the play of Dungeons and Dragons. So he went through the motions of creating a system, but a reed and bamboo and grass hut that looks like an airplane does not an airplane make. And that is where we find ourselves with fantasy wargaming. Tables of numbers and instructions telling you to roll dice are the elements. It is in the shape of a war game, but it's not really tenable. It doesn't fly. It doesn't float. Are there some interesting ideas in it? Sure. But it is very much a cargo cult publication. Had the gentleman who created it lived longer, I bet we would have gotten some amazing TTRPG stuff out of him. I think unquestionably he could have created a corner of RPGs that would have been truly astounding. And I think it's a tragedy that he passed away. So that, you know, that's kind of, you know, that's how I feel about it. And I hope that answers, your question a little bit. You know, so, oh, what was that? Gonzalo said something about Rollmaster. Was that it? Gonzalo, Rollmaster. Anyway, fantasy wargaming was not playable. I did probably. Lore and mechanics are not really the same thing. D&D forced itself in a high-level role play from a miniature wargaming start, so it has a lot of flaws. I tend to think it's, yes, Dungeon Minister knows. John Frum, come back. But lore and mechanics are not the same thing, and that's very true. And you grow. You grow. Remove this. There we go. The astrology chart was kind of neat. Yeah, Bob, it definitely was. You know, it was the maintained building and swept clean runway of the cargo cult, if you will. It's like, that's nice, but doesn't really do anything for us other than that. Gary shopped D&D around a lot of places, and Avalon Hill did not want to buy it. They said that their wargamers wouldn't be interested because there was no end state. And when TSR published it themselves, Arnold Hendrick lambasted it. Do you guys want that? Do you guys want to check out the review of original D&D in Avalon Hill? I've done it for a lot of you guys, but a lot of you haven't heard it. Is there a good third-party bestiary for AD&D? Yeah, it's called Fiend Folio, except it's not good. Boom! Ouch! There are... See, good is subjective, But I would say since D&D and BBS culture, there have been there have been is that review by Alex Jones? No, but if you super me $50, I'll read it all in Alex Jones's voice. See if I can find this here. It's gonna take me a hot minute to locate this. Okay, I found it. Let's also watch the Siskel and Ebert outtakes where they trash each other. All right. Image file. All right, so here we go. And I got to zoom into this here. All right, so here we go, guys. This is the rules review. Dungeons and Dragons by Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson. 3 softcover volumes totaling 112 pages with 5 chart sheets available from Tactical Studies Rules, 542 Sage Street, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. $53,147 for $10. Subtitled Rules for Fantastic Medieval Wargame Campaigns, playable with paper and pencil and miniature figures. These booklets attempt to outline a system for playing the kind of fantasy adventures one previously read about in paperbacks. The concept is remarkably interesting, since the same person interested in matching himself against Napoleon or Manstein might also find comparisons with Conan or John Carter enjoyable. The game is played by various adventurers and a referee. The players, starting in near total ignorance, attempt to adventure in the wilderness around them or in dungeons and underground chambers beneath them. The referee is informed of each action, and after consulting the maps he has made, the basic tables and information in the booklets, and his own imagination, gives the player a response. Those who remember Korn's Modern Warfare in Miniature will see the parallel, although Korn's rules were much more tightly constructed. Here, introductions are made into the many possible areas of interest: finance, magic, fighting ability, language, and monsters of every type and description, from goblins, orcs, giants, and dragons to the more esoteric manticores, chimeras, wyvern, and the Hollywood mummies, purple worms, green slime, gray ooze, and black pudding. Vastly too much has been attempted in these booklets, with very little detail, explanations, or procedures. For personal combat, chainmail is referred to, but the multiple damage characteristics of characters in this game does not fit with the life or death struggle in chainmail, and neither gives a clue for the effect of missile fire. Say perhaps the firer's normal ability is extended up to the range of the missile weapon, with restrictions and special options as allowed in the multi-figure section of the chainmail rules. The resulting mess in interpretations is enough to tax the patience of most gamers to the extreme. Worse, personal combat is the area of receiving the most attention. Things go downhill from there. Play in person. Sorry. Oh goodness. Woo! Play in person is usually impossible, since the referee can only show the adventurer the terrain he is crossing at that instant, plus whatever is in his sight. Only large battles are suitable for the tabletop. The optimum solution seems to be play by phone, or when distances are too great, play by mail. For those without gasoline to visit their fellow wargamers or without a car, Dungeons & Dragons can be very, very interesting indeed. For example, in a test adventure recently concluded, the acolyte Dorn from the village of Thane ventured into the ruins of Takator, opting for an underground dungeon adventure instead of an above-ground wilderness expedition. After finding numerous doors beyond his strength to move, he finally opened one that woke 4 gnolls who charged him directly. The well-equipped Dorn, with mail, shield, spear, and crossbow, was allowed to fire by the kindly referee, then strike first with the spear. Being rather handy with weapons and things, Dorn neatly felled 2 of the ghouls, but was then touched by the third, a circumstance which petrified him, while the ghouls proceeded to kill him, thus turning Dorn into a ghoul. So much for the acolyte Dorn. Better luck in the next life. Beyond the problems involved in play, find an intrepid referee, the other discouraging factor is price. These booklets are roughly comparable to The Courier in physical quality, but at $3.50 each are priced rather high. Worse, all 3 are necessary. Oh no, all the rules are necessary. You don't say, Mr. Hendrick. Graphics, considering the format, are decent, with some excellent illustrations, but some space could have been saved without compromising appearance. In general, the concept and imagination involved is stunning. However, much more work, refinement, and especially regulation and simplification is necessary before the game is manageable. The scope is just too grand, while the referee is expected to do too much in relation to the players. If you need ideas to help you along into your own fantasy adventure games, these booklets will be of use. Otherwise, your $10 will be wasted. I do not suggest these to the average wargamer. So there you go. Avalon Hill, who passed on purchasing Dungeons and Dragons, then set about to slag Dungeons and Dragons as unplayable, untenable for in-person play, perhaps a mine for ideas, and overpriced for what you got. Given that in the mid-2000s, Wizards of the Coast, owners of Dungeons and Dragons, and Hasbro swallowed Avalon Hill and now keep the Impressum alive only as a vestigial organ through which to publish Axis and Allies, and Risk over and over and over and over and over, should tell you all we need to know about the staying power of Dungeons and Dragons. Play by phone superior. Who wrote this, Ma Bell? I will say that I believe Tim Kask got his job at TSR after spending like 9 hours. He called Gary for a rules clarification, and it turned into Gary DMing Tim over the phone for like 9 hours from Minneapolis, which back then, I mean, that must have cost $20 or $30, which in 1974, 75, that'd be like a multi-$100 phone bill today. Axis and Allies is a fine game, Dungeon Minister. I'm just saying, how many iterations of it do we need? Axis and Allies, June 1942 to mid-July 1942. Axis and Allies, that one little part of Dunkirk, you know, near the part where it's picnic tables now, but you can just go up there and you can see where the British tanks would have gotten stuck on the shale. Axis and Allies. Axis and Allies, about 3 hours with a Japanese plane flying somewhere out over the Pacific looking for the U.S. fleet. They have got to stop whittling it down to sell more Axis and Allies sets. Could you please? Exactly. You could buy 2 copies of OD&D for the price of that call. Stop. He's already. Yeah, I mean, there's Axis and Allies, a campaign for North Africa, Axis and Allies, the war in the East, Axis and Allies, 1939, Axis and Allies, the war in the Pacific. I think there's a North African campaign. Yeah. Axis and Allies, Cold War, just staring at each other suspiciously, and then running over and punching the other player's little brother and running back and acting like you didn't do anything wrong. Steel Mongoose, too late for the crochet advice. About 50 years. Yes. So I do want to mention this. I'm probably not going to do a standalone show about it. Axis and Allies show how game design works. An air battle resolved in one dice roll versus taking all night. Yes, exactly. Axis and Allies versus Advanced Squad Leader. Axis and Allies retail workers versus Black Friday shoppers. Axis and Allies traffic jam while you're trying to get to the Boeing plant in Seattle, 1942. There's probably a Risk Warcraft, Michael. Let me scroll up a little bit because I forgot. I don't know if there was an Axis and Allies Cold War. Oh, crochet advice. So yeah, I'm not going to do a standalone video about this. But I am gonna mention this. There's a new book out from Wizards of the Coast, and it's crochet patterns of D&D things. Now, I shared the WotC announcement of the D&D crochet book, and I said, I just want to mention historically, this is where TSR was at in the mid 1980s when the company started to fall apart financially. You'd have thought I'd have kicked a puppy. Seriously, you'd have thought I'd have shot somebody's dog with a BB gun. People went absolutely bonkers over it. This looks cool. You'd love this if you like the new D&D. Guys, D&D is not in good straits right now. It's not. D&D 2024 has not been the sales winner that Wizards of the Coast wants it to be, needs it to be. When your game is ailing, when your community is still stinging from 2023, this is not the kind of product that you need to be focusing on. Now, people are like, well, they released the cookbook. Yes, they released the cookbook because everybody has to eat, and a lot of people are willing to try out cooking. Not everybody wants to make toilet paper koozies, guys. Well, things are going to hang up on the wall and gather dust. Even the most bachelory bachelor of us will give an interesting beef stew recipe a try if it's got some D&D theme to it. But this, no. If the game was doing fine, if it was even something that I enjoyed, I'd say, yeah, that's kind of silly. But the company is sagging and they released this. TSR, Brian and Kevin Bloom bought some distant aunt's needlepoint company and started selling needlepoint not even D&D theme, just TSR branded needlepoint kits in the 1980s. It was one of the things that when Gary came back from California infuriated me. So why did we buy? We're not a needlepoint company. So the net result, guys, is that they're spending money on this. I mean, how many resources were spent? You had to get together and design these patterns, and graphic design for the book. I mean, they slaughtered their video game development people, the people who interfaced with Larian. Now, you might hate Baldur's Gate 3. I might hate Baldur's Gate 3, but the fact is that made buckets of money. But you won't keep investing in computer games, but you will invest in a crochet book. It'd be one thing if they put a pattern or two in Dragon Magazine. Oh, right. They can't do that because why have a tabletop role-playing game and a publication that supports that tabletop role-playing game, right? But the point remains. Hey, guys, we're going to do like a craft corner and, every couple of months for our whatever plus subscribers, you can get this needlepoint design or crochet design. There's a right place and a wrong place and a right time and a wrong time to do stuff like this. I mean, they already did a big nothing on the 50th fucking anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. They did nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They released a book that out of the chute insulted Dave and Gary. That was it. That was their big 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, the post office made that. That was the big thing from Wizards of the Coast for 2025. Now, I know this book didn't just pop into existence back in late July. This had to have been worked on. Somebody, some fucking body at Wizards of the Coast made a decision not to do something 50th anniversary related about D&D, but to work on this. It's 2024, 2025. What do we want to do D&D related? Well, you know, D&D is the most popular role-playing game ever. It kickstarted the entire hobby. It brought families together and that sort of thing. Let's ignore all of its history and just work on a needlepoint book. Did nobody bother to think of how that went last time? No, it didn't. Because the C-suite are literally nothing but investment bankers, and their underlings are mid-20s and younger. They know not. The people at the top know nothing about the history of D&D. The people in the trenches know nothing about the history of D&D. Nothing at all. And this proves it. And that's why it pisses me off, because it comes at a time when they desperate, and they admitted this on their own website. Their new product manager talked about listening to the fans. Is this what they told you they wanted? A crochet book? The people clamoring for more Forgotten Realms, for more Dragonlance, for more Greyhawk, for Eberron, for the revival of old stuff, for you guys to maybe lean in and spend some fucking resources on digging through the classic editions to get them under Creative Commons? This is what you decided to spend your money on. A crochet book. That's what you decided to do. That is like picking out a silk tie and a handkerchief while freezing cold North Atlantic water laps around your ankles on the fucking promenade of the Titanic. And there's a half full lifeboat and people screaming your name to get in. A crochet book. Now I got to go back and read all your stuff. Caliber, good to see you. This is the best. Actually, I don't know. It's a tie, but I'm leaning a little bit heavier on Axis and Allies IT versus customer service. Axis and Allies, 1992. The cubicle area at war. There's my co-host, beautiful person, Kyle, the Viking Hat GM. When are they going to do a Buck Rogers RPG? At this point, Kyle, at this point, in the next couple of years. In the next couple of years, we should say, at the rate they're going, we'll need Dallas and Rocky and Bullwinkle. We got to get those in there for bad ideas from TSR also. Then maybe some videotape-based games. Yes, because they had those. I agree with you. Excalibur, hello. This is a tablet age. You'd upgrade D&D to computerize it. They have tried so many times and have failed so many times. Let me tell you, all the way back to 2000, when you bought the 3rd edition Player's Handbook, it came with a CD-ROM of character creation software for 3rd edition, yada, yada. It's going to happen. They tried it with 4th edition. They tried it with 5th edition. They've tried it with D&D Beyond. Hell's bells. There was Dungeon Master's Assistant Volume 1 and Volume 2 and the Core Rules 2.0 CD-ROM. So that's AD&D, 2nd edition AD&D, 3rd edition software, 4th edition software, 5th edition software with D&D Beyond. Guys, I think Kyle's trying to tell me something. That is right. Tales from the Tavern is a beautiful publication. You guys should definitely check it out. There was actually like a frozen pizza rolls or something D&D themed freezer snack, Kyle. They got close. They got damn close. Yeah, $200 for like 8 miniatures. I remember those. The mic sounds high. I was kind of leaning into it a little bit, Yang. Plus, I was yelling. Maybe if I bring it down a little bit. How's that, Yang? Is that better? John Peterson and Jason Tondro insulting Gary and Dave. Yeah, fuck those guys. The coloring book, yeah. I'm just scrolling down to catch up with you guys. See, last year at Gen Con, you wouldn't have known it was 50 years of D&D. Yeah, no, it was absolutely. I'm just trying to get caught up with you guys. All right, now I'm caught up with you guys. Graph Paper Architect, do you want 2 CDs? Let me know if you want 2 CDs. How's my blood pressure? I'm fine. I should have done that whole rant as Alex Jones. I shouldn't have held out for a super for that. Because I'm in a mood. I'm in a mood. I had Graph Paper, you really want 2 CDs? Guys, ask Graph Paper Architect if he wants 2 CDs. All right. My co-host asked for it, and I know he can't be here tonight, so. All right, I'm gonna do the AI overview since there's not a capsule review of it. But this is for Kyle because he couldn't make it tonight, and I'm very simpatico. Kyle is my Guardo Camino. So here you go, Kyle. Cinnabar is a polarizing, one-of-a-kind, multi-genre RPG known for its anything-goes comic book style setting developed by a single creator, which blends fantasy, sci-fi, and action into a wild kitchen sink experience with deep customization and flexible rules. While some praise its unique depth and flexibility, many critics deride it as incoherent, amateurish, and possessing exceptionally poor design. I tried to warn you people, making it a love or hate game. What do, Lord? I want them to love it. It requires significant effort to fully grasp and enjoy. It's not for the sheep, people. It's not for the simpletons. The pros, unique multi-genre setting, deep customization, open-ended gameplay, embraces imagination. Now, they don't want you to know this. I'm going to tell you. I tried to warn you people. Incoherent design, amateurish presentation, puzzling and frustrating, inconsistent tone of quality. That's what the beast wants you to think. Overall impression. These are the lies they're spreading about it, people. Cinnabar is an iconically insane, bad RPG for some and a revolutionary game for others. 1776 will commence again. Its single creator origin and kitchen sink nature lead to a game that is either beloved for its balanced creativity or reviled for its perceived incoherence and poor quality. It requires a player to actively engage with its eccentricities and embrace its wild, multi-genre potential to appreciate its unique qualities. There you go, guys. Whew. Oh, yeah, that's going to sting tomorrow. I hope you guys appreciated that. You know, it's a skill. It's a skill I have. It's a talent. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Something for the throat lozenges. You just sent a okay, yeah. Let me find that real quick, Kyle. I'm gonna put that up there. Did you send it to? Oh God, my poor voice. You sent it to Discord, I think. No, you did not send it to Discord. Hang on. I know where to find it now, Kyle. Yes, sir. I see it. It's going out there. All right. Move, present, image file. Make sure I don't accidentally send the wrong thing. There we go. That is Raven C.S. McCracken on the left and my co-host, Kyle, the Viking Hat GM, on the right in the city of Seattle. So there you go. Yes, but I lost it now. Hang on a second. I can I can do a little bit of Tucker Carlson. The Biden administration told us you needed Crom to create first edition AD&D characters. We investigated. This is what we found out. I can do it sometimes. Like I can't do it consistently like I can do Alex Jones. I know. I love your story about meeting Raymond. I'm not stepping on Kyle's toes, but I remember we were having this discussion one night. This was in like 2011. This is Kyle and I literally just BSing. This is years before I even thought of doing a YouTube channel, period. And he was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna be at a fitness convention in Seattle. That's where Raven McCracken is. Should I reach out to him to talk to him?" And I was like, "I'll do it for you." so I sent him an email and said, "My friend Kyle would like to interview you. Can he?" And then I included Kyle in the interview, and the rest, as they say, is history. Take care, GPA. Have a good one. Anyway, Jas asked me this question: what do you need for Chrome to run? What software needs to already be installed? Nothing. It is a standalone executable for Windows 8, 8.1, 10, and 11, 64 or 32-bit. It also runs under Linux through Wine. It does not just run on Linux. You have to be using Wine if you want to run it on Linux. And it is $25 hairs. You can shoot me an email at the email address below. That's bsylvia@gmail.com. And I will hook you up with a copy, and that entitles you to any future bug fixes or revisions that are coming along with it. So I hope that answers your question, JAS. Teddy Rex, they look related. Do you have something to tell us, Kyle? I don't see it. I don't see it. Yes. So there is Kyle's there's Kyle's meeting. You guys definitely should read that. It is it is a fun read. So I'm only taking out, I'm gonna see, is it gonna allow me? Brian Acosta, good to see you. Okay, I can't select all the text, but you guys can type that into a tab and go there. So Brian, I've got some bad news for you. Last person who joins the chat has to super. So it's you, some pony up some buck. I'm kidding. That's a joke. That is a joke, my friend. Welcome, Brian. Good to see you again. Well, I'm watching through stream. I suppose I can go over to YouTube and watch it. By the way, if you're watching us over on X and you haven't spoken up already, please say hi to us on X. See, my voice starts to go after I do Alex Jones, and then I can then I can do a Tucker Carlson. Please don't forget to say hi to us on X. The Biden administration sent us a DM on X. Here's what we heard. Let's go over to my channel. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. Got to make sure that's muted. Oh, come on, just let me view it. It's my own chat. Let me view it. This is an old post, so it's taking a minute to pull it up. Oh, I couldn't do Gary from Nerdrotic. I couldn't do his voice. Kyle, I know you weren't ready to get your game on. Do you want to do you want to come on and talk about the meeting? Do you want me to read it? It's entirely up to you, brother. I know if you're busy, if you've got like an eye on the kids or on the gym right now, I completely understand. But you let me. Can I do Gary from TSR? I sort of can. I see my Gary from TSR kind of starts to lean into J.K. Simmons a little bit as J. Jonah Jameson. Roll initiative versus roll initiative, Spider-Man, threat or menace. Save it for another time when we're out of topics. Absolutely, brother. Rob Turner, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, Gary's voice was actually pretty mellow. I'll tell you guys a fun story about Gary's voice. And I'm gonna take the photo down just real quick. But you guys scroll back up if you wanna see that. He was an extract called Everyone Dingus. J.K. Simmons. But so Gary's voice. There I was sitting on Gary's porch playing D&D with him. I love being able to start a story like that. So there I was sitting on Gary's porch playing D&D with him. And my beautiful wife, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver, was gaming with us too. Now, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver has always had a very, very keen voice for picking up words. Teddy, I love that. That's great. For picking up accents, picking up words out of accents, and so on and etc. She was a lifesaver when we were in Barbados, and sometimes our waiters or waitresses would have a bit of a patois that was a little dense for me. She was right there, no problem at all. So there we are, sitting on Gary's porch playing D&D, and Gary tries to be slick and give us a hint without giving us a hint. So we're sitting there, and Gary is voicing a monster that's trying to be helpful and friendly and says, "No, go away. There's dangerous. No, go that way." He was like really deep and growly, and I could barely make out what he was saying. Gary was doing it like basically like trying to send us off to our doom because we would misinterpret what he would say. And Colleen's like, "Wait, he said it's very dangerous. Don't go that way. Danger there. We should go." And Gary is just completely like, I see. Okay. she was able to pick out what he was saying and direct us to the right place. So we actually ended up going past this dangerous encounter because of her keen ear for that. I love that story. You were raised a poor orc child. Make basements great again. Absolutely. Tarot Destroyer. I don't know. That is a horrible question. Why would you ask that? Why would you ask me that? Why would you show up on my live stream and ask me that? You're going to have to super chat for that, I'm afraid. There is a penalty for that. There's a penalty for that, I'm afraid. Bantero Destroyer, it's a spammer. I mean, if it is, JP Got Rockets, if you think it is, yeah, it was kind of funny, but it is funny spam. I tell you what, if that's it, I'm not going to bother with it. If it comes back, I will ban it. I will ban it. When I started the channel up, we used to get pretty bad porn spam. Corn is what I said to YouTube. It would be pretty ferocious. It'd be like I'd start the live stream and just just chat, and I'd have to like click and shut things. It got to where YouTube could basically run alongside me, deleting things almost as fast as I could delete them. Now it's where it pretty much catches them all, except for this Tarot Destroyer thing, occasionally sneaking through. But I can honestly say that I don't have like I honestly, people who don't like me and the live stream and the show, for the most part, just fuck off. They just go away. They don't say anything to me. Um, by and large, I've had one or two people who've been like, yeah, you know, I'm going to be disruptive because I don't like what you're doing. Like there was a poster, and I'm not mentioning names, but there was somebody who was like super angry that like if you go to YouTube and you look at the reacts, like there's little emoji reacts that can make them drift up the screen. Oh, this guy was so pissed that I wouldn't go in and shut them off. He's like, it makes it like TikTok. This is brain rot video. Turn them off. Just like constantly just, and I'm like, dude, just relax. Nobody really does it in live chat. Just, you know. So eventually I just I didn't even ban the person. All right, that's done. Terror Destroyer has been banned and their comments have been removed. So apologize for that. JP got rockets. Are most half or so indistinguishable from orcs? There are 10%. Oh my God. Gonna have to keep an eye on that. Turning to Gygax, you remember Gygax's voice in Dalara's Tomb in the Dungeons and Dragons Online? Yeah, yeah. You know, Gary did voice some stuff in D&D Online. I prefer to think of it as cashing in, not selling out. Anyway, yes. 90% of half orcs are indistinguishable from orcs, but there are 10% that can pass as human. The chat's that's right. Dave Arneson did as well. The chat's maturity level irritates those attempting to disrupt our chaos. You decide to fire low. Yeah. I'm just keeping an eye on the chat, guys. All right, let's see. You know what? We're going to do it like that. And hopefully that person will be gone. Let's see. I don't know, Gonzalo. I don't know. Some people just want to cause trouble. When I game with Gary, did he hide behind her screen or other barrier? As I recall, I think Gary had like a book up in the way. I don't know that it was what you would call an official screen. But yeah, Gary would like keep his clipboard up between us and him, depending. Now, I only gamed with Gary like 4 times, so let's keep that clear. Oh, that's terrible, Teddy Rex. I love it. Yes, I use a screen if I can help it at all. I will always have a screen. Is there anything lower than mute? I've kicked and banned that person several times. Oh, that's awesome, Got Rockets. Congratulations, my friend. A real DM runs the room from the next game by intercom. So I did ask Heidi Gygax about that, or somebody asked. Heidi answered that question when we interviewed them, and she said that her dad never did that. Her dad never sat behind a filing cabinet or went in another room or anything like that. So the voice from the beyond thing was just a one, it was just kind of a one-off notion that Gary had that never had traction. Do I roll in open or behind the screen? Um, I I roll in the open where appropriate. Monster 2 hits, monster saving throws, damage rolls, um, stuff like that. Hide in shadows, move silently, disarm traps, find traps, various spell resistances, some monster saving throws. It depends on what I'm saving. Like obvious stuff like, I cast stone to flesh on the monster or flesh to stone on the monster. Well, you're going to know whether or not that works regardless of where I roll. So uh, it will vary depending on the die roll. Oh, I remember you telling me about that, Kyle. The only game he had implode was when the players bought healthy snacks. Not even the Korean snacks imploded that game. There was actually a question way early on in the stream tonight. I wanna bring this up. This has to do with the music for the live stream. Can I use a Sono generated song? Okay, this is just where good old fashioned Bill paranoia comes in, and the Korean snacks just weren't eaten. Have a Snickers, Kyle. You're not yourself when you're hungry. Uh, well, the situational die rolls, there are just some die rolls I'll make out in public, obviously known things, but like you don't know if you successfully hidden in shadows. You simply don't know. I'm as hidden as good as I can. I'm being as quiet as I can. You ever sneak out when you weren't supposed to, like at night? The parents have been like, "No, you're coming in at 9 o'clock, and that's it." Well, you know, I think I'm being quiet. I don't think they can hear me. I'm as quiet as a church mouse. Ha ha ha. And there's your old man standing in the foyer. Um, if you put your hands over your eyes, they can't see you. But anyhow, that's sort of kind of what I mean by situational die rolls. Yes, but Gravewalkers, that's Batman. Of course, he doesn't need to roll dice. Batman only fails on a 1 on a d20. Unfortunately, Batman always has a +1, regardless of what it is. Batman has a +1. Anyway, back to the matter of music. Could I use uh 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 what was it? FOMO, POMO music. So here's the thing. Um the fight that I've been having about my music, Sono, thank you. The fight I've been having about my music is this. I had an arrangement, no pun intended, with Bards of Greyhawk. Great guys. None of this is directed at Bards of Greyhawk. I think that it's Rich is, you know, they did everything they could. But once upon a time, I would just like go live. And I used to joke, I will have a show opening when I have music for a show opening. And since I can't play guitar or kazoo or whatever, the show won't have any opening. So Rich Denver of Bards of Greyhawk got a hold of me and said, hey, sit down with us and tell us what kind of music you would like for your opening. And in exchange for you promoting our band, you can use the song. I was like, that's awesome. That's great. Thank you so very much. And we sat down and they said, what kind of music do you want? And you guys have heard it. I'm never going to play it on the show again, ever. So if you want to go back to previous shows and listen to the intro music, you know what it sounds like. And everything was hunky-dory for a few years. Sometimes I would play it in its entirety because not everyone had heard it. Well, one day out of nowhere, I started getting copyright struck. Excuse me. I started getting content notifications. Copyright strikes basically are YouTube themselves saying, we know the music, the video, the content you are sharing is taken from someone else without their permission in violation of DMCA law. If you don't take it down, that's one copyright strike. If you get hit 2 more times and you don't do anything to remedy the first one, you will lose your channel forever. We will turn it off. That will be the end of it. You will not get your channel back. You will not get your content back. You will not be remonetized. You are done. So, the good folks at Bards of Greyhawk gave me a boilerplate when I reached out to them and said that I could mail to the content match system called CD Baby. What happened was Bards of Greyhawk took the song that was my opening credits music that they had written for me and put it on an album of theirs. Their content match service, CD Baby, skims through YouTube using AI. Every video I have that has that 43-second clip of the song that I thought more or less belonged to me has gotten hit or will get hit. Now, they gave me a letter, a boilerplate letter I can forward to CD Baby that says he has full permission to do this. But every time I get one of those notifications, I either lose all monetization or they split the monetization. So the result of that is, and it's not just ancient videos that don't make any money for me anyway. I had stuff from like just a few weeks ago, stuff that people will still go back and watch and generate a few cents of money. And, you know, I'm talking about 1,200 videos. It's not a lot of money, but it's a lot of content, which adds up. So they're basically hitting the roots. So there are days when I have to go in and submit 5 or 6 counterclaims. claims. Now, like today, I had a 2-hour video. It was 2 hours long. 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 It was 2 I got 5 emails that 5 of the videos that they had hit and that I had filed counterclaims, they released back to me. But they're not gonna just blanket say this song belongs to him. I have to send them the letter every time. I have to send it to them each and every time. Now, I stopped using Summer Mountains and it just tears me up because it was a beautiful piece of music that was created for me. So someday I'll stop getting content warnings. Thank you, Teddy. I'll never be able to play the song again. They do not whitelist individual songs. They do not whitelist individual channels. They do not whitelist usage. Unless the Bards of Greyhawk just give me that song and remove it from their catalog entirely, I can't ever use it again. Or else I'll have to come through every time and do that to save my monetization on videos. Yet it's the law. They're legally allowed to do it, Michael. The now, what has this to do then with Sono? I've had people suggest, hey, go to Fiverr. Get somebody to just do an acoustic jam for you on Fiverr. Go over here to this service. Go over there to that service. All of them have now not Fiverr, but a lot of them have this, well, you just make sure you include this, this, and that, and these licenses and this boilerplate in your description. I don't believe or trust musical publication, particularly not going through YouTube, not when someone can just reach out and say, that belongs to us. The reason I don't stream on Facebook anymore, one of the reasons I don't stream on, one of the many reasons I don't stream on Facebook, before I ever had music, Facebook hit one of my videos and said, from this timestamp and 1 second to that same timestamp plus 1 second, so literally 1 second, we've determined you're using copyrighted music. At that point in the video, I'm just talking. Their copyright detection AI picked up on my voice and said, oh, that's part of a song. We're going to restrict that video so only you can view it until you can fix this. There is no equation whereby I put something that does not 100% legally belong, not a fucking license, not a, oh, well, yeah, of course. That can be pulled in an instant. Hey, I've decided I'm the next, I'm going to be the next music superstar. All this stuff I've licensed, yeah, no. I'm going to get me a $50 Saul Goodman and I'm just going to delete on that. And all of these YouTube channels can pay me, stop using my music, or I'll issue a copyright strike. This is all I have. This little channel is all I have. And the fact that I've come this day, let me tell you guys something. A couple of the counterclaims that I sent out were counterclaimed, but I could file an appeal. And so I did. Do you know what's in the fucking appeal form? YouTube can decide that my counterclaims have been made in bad faith and treat that as a copyright strike. I filled out more than 3 of them. They could pick 3 of those at random tomorrow and just say, bad faith, bad faith, bad faith, channel gone. I don't want to discuss what I would have to do next. I will not use music that does not belong to me, ever, under any circumstances, for any reason. Not FOMO or POMO or porno or whatever it's called. Not Fiverr, not freefantasyacousticmusic.com, nothing. I will not use it unless it belongs to me. If Birds of Greyhawk came back to me and said, we've taken this out of our music catalog, this belongs entirely to you, use it in good faith. Go ahead, brother. I'd start using it again. I'm still a little worried about Owlbear. Not because I don't trust Bob, but just because of the way things are. That is a very appropriate analogy. And if you don't know him and you don't know that story, woo boy. Kevin's litigation against people is legendary in tabletop gaming. And I can't do a thing about it. Do you want to know why? CD Baby is part of the Universal Media Group. Universal. You go to movie theater, the spinning globe thing in Universal. Their music arm, they own CD Baby. They scooped them up. I would have better luck trying to play a full album Guns N' Roses song before my videos than I would getting them to pry their fingers open a little bit and let my opening theme song go and be whitelisted. Yeah, I'm starting to hear some stuff, some rumbling about Rumble that ain't making me very happy either. That's right. That's why there are no Riffs fan pages, because Kevin thinks he owns anything that you type out about Riffs on the internet, and that if you don't let it go, him and his wife come screaming at you, calling you a thief. Everything that has gone wrong for Kevin has always been somebody else's fault, and it always boils down to that person's a thief and tried to steal my IP. Hold a contest, winner gets a copy of Crom, you get all rights to the song. I'll do it. I'll absolutely do it. Oh no, he's far more litigious than that. AI is the problem. They couldn't train. The problem, JP, the problem is, like, the thing that made me stop posting on Facebook, that came before. I had a chance. Like, there was an appeal system that was supposed to go to a person, and they never contacted me back. This was well before people were using generative systems. Yeah. And also remember, Kevin is why there is no official Macross TTRPG. He's part of the reason why you can't get just Macross in the United States, a very small, tiny grain of sand part of it compared to Harmony Gold. Steel Mongoose. Steel Mongoose. Steel Mongoose. Some huge drama 20 years ago when he supposedly had lots of stuff stolen from him. Was that legit or just nonsense? Nonsense. Unless it was physical theft, like somebody broke into a warehouse, nonsense. It started about 25, 26 years ago when he and his wife discovered the Binaries Usenet group. If you don't know what that is, Google it. For RPG products. And boy, were they pissed that out of print mechanoids and TMNT stuff was floating around in there. And he's always used these kind of grandiose terms like, you know, the great betrayal, the great act of betrayal. Yeah, he just straight up does not pay people that have worked for him. So I'm told. So I am told. The Great Betrayal, that was it. Yeah. And anytime Kevin has screwed over writers, so I'm told, he always like, so I'm told, and I could be wrong about this. Yes, I know I keep saying that a lot. That he has let like he's hired freelancers, they've written things for them. He said it's unusable, terminated them, and then come in, cleaned up a little bit of what they did, and then put his name and his name alone on it. And he spins some story about how Jane Smith is entirely unreliable. I fixed this. I published it. Here it is. Allegedly. Allegedly. It's said that. And hello, Halsey. You'd have bought the Palladium system years ago, but the system crunch makes Hero look like the core of Mechton. Yes. Yeah. So Kevin was in a foot race and starting to pull ahead from TSR's legal perfidy in terms of sheer internet fuckery. The reason I talk about that is literally that is what it that's what lies at the core of why I won't have music that I don't own on the front end of the show. Yeah, the Robotech war game is what broke the Robotech RPG out of his hands. I have the box set. A friend bought the box set, assembled the miniatures, played a couple of times, and then gave it to me. So what happened with this was, and the hell of this is, this like pisses me off because he's not, excuse me, he's not, he's not the only person who's done this. I've heard of other companies that have pulled the same shit, but it is equally shady. So Robotech RPG Tactics is a 40K like game set around Robotech. And they kickstarted it. And I think this box has like 140 miniatures in it or something like that. It was pretty expensive, but it was the starter set, Destroids, Veritex, and lots of Zentradi pieces, a simplified war game system. So this took forever and ever and ever to come out. And Kevin said, well, our sculptors screwed us. We wanted it to come out, but our sculptor screwed us. Hey, Zach Melvin, good to see you. Yeah, it's right here. So a couple of things happened. People were waiting on their kickstarted sets when at a convention, not even offered for sale on their website, at a convention, Kevin, not third parties he'd sent there, Kevin was selling the Kickstarter sets. Like, oh, this is the set you would have gotten as a Kickstarter backer. So there's extra stuff in there. And the people who backed the Kickstarter were still waiting on their sets. They never got this. Or they didn't get this in a timely fashion. And so people started showing off their hauls. Like, look at this. Look at this. And people were rightly pissed. And of course, here comes Kevin. It's somebody else's fault. Yeah, it was on Miniatures Market. People were flipping this set on eBay. They were buying these sets on Miniatures Market and other websites and flipping them on eBay before Kickstarter backers were getting their sets. And they were just told to wait. Well, that plus people looking at some of the sculpt qualities, and it, like, I don't know how he managed this. There's something, I don't know if I can show it to you guys because I don't know where the models are. Hang on. Okay. So this is a very strange thing. Yes, Teddy. Yes, his sculptors are the traitors, the betrayers, the villains. Okay. There were Macross miniatures that you could buy in packs of 1 and 2. A company called 20th Century Imports imported them into the US. The mechs are about this big. They're not huge. On the back of the miniatures, there was a tiny little M2 screw that held the front and back half of the body shells together for the for certain types of destroids. The Tomahawk / Warhammer, Rifleman / Radar X, and Gladiator / Archer, and a few others, had this little M2 screw. This is important. This is important. JAS, buy AD&D. Buy print-on-demand AD&D books. You don't get the Gygaxian goodness if you don't buy AD&D. So that's what I think about that. Jason Thomas, yes, we're live streaming. So the plastic models, that tall, M2 screw on the back to hold the front and back halves together. When Ral Partha started releasing Battletech miniatures, which are only about this tall, in the middle of the back, there's a circle with a cross in it that looks like a tiny Phillips screw. Indentation for it and everything. You could fit, but of course, it doesn't bolt the front and half of the front and back of the miniature together. Isn't that curious? These minis, same thing. Kevin, or whoever his company was, Ninja something or the other, was working off of scans, I think, of, and by scans, I mean literally photographs of those 20th century imports, Macross kits from the early 1980s, or pictures of them. And we're just interpreting that screw in the back. And I know it's there because I have a couple of the kits up over there that are held together with those screws. If I fiddle with them, I mean, they're 40 years old. If I fiddle with them, sometimes I have to tighten those screws back up. So I know they're there. So that's the sad saga of Robotech Tactics. And Kevin finally lost the Macross license. Unfortunately, Carl Maychek and Harmony Gold and the rest of those bastards still have their hands locked around it. They came to an agreement. Their 35-year licensing agreement finally came to an end 4-5 years ago, maybe a little less. And they sat down at the negotiating table and they renegotiated it. So we're stuck with fucking Robotech instead of Macross. We'll never see a proper release of Macross in the US. Anyway, I want to get back up here to this question. Yeah, get the AD&D reprints, man. Look, hold your it's literally just a few pennies. And who knows, maybe moving that needle slightly shows them that they need to do something more with AD&D than just insult it. Kyle says, I met a guy who distilled alcohol into what he said was whiskey, the flavor of which he developed by adding oak chips into it. It was by AD&D. I think you've just about said it all. But you know what, guys? If the hurdle for playing AD&D is character creation, have I got some great news for you? Allow me to take a minute to tell you about our Lord and Savior, CROM, the Character Record Organization Manager Program. It's available for Windows 8, 8.1, 10, and 11, 32 or 64-bit. Runs under Wine under Linux. Well, that's the beautiful thing, Kyle. If you want to do 3D6 down the line, CROM will let you do that. But on matters of adding XP, removing XP, adding levels, removing levels, that's right, it does do level drain. Create a bard. Check to see if they have psionics. Any book legal function you can perform on a character in first edition AD&D, CROM can manage. Age your characters up, reduce their age, add treasure, buy equipment, sell gems and jewelry. Dual class a human at the appropriate time into any appropriate class. change stats, shift alignment, and all appropriate changes when you do those things are made to their stats. Did your strength go down from 1854 to a mere 17? It'll adjust that line for you. Crom is the ultimate character management software. Save in text, save in HTML. Track your character's progress as they adventure and gain fame and fortune. And you can get a copy of Crom right now, tonight. It can be yours for $25 US. And that entitles you to any and all future improvements, updates, bug fixes, patches, all of that sort of thing. Just reach out to me on social media. Which night is usually... That's a tough call. Believe it or not, Monday afternoon kind of does well. Tuesday's a big night because we play AD&D. If I have a really, ripping Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, it varies, dude. I can't pin down one day. I will tell you that we had hundreds of people in chat on my birthday week, or my birthday night show in 2023. And Kyle helped me out. Kyle worked the chat and he was like, don't pay attention to the chat. There's too many people here. Just do the show. I got this. So thank you, Kyle. Does Crom work in index card format? You use a lot of index cards. I don't know what you mean, Steel Mongoose. It doesn't run on index cards. You have to have a computer. Hey, Corpse Kings clocking in from over on X. Good to see you. Bandai is releasing a tabletop war game for Gundam in both Japan and the US. You believe it's multi-continental release. That's cool. That's nice. Hypercard. Yes. Let's run it. Let's run it on a Macintosh 2 or a what do you call it? An Apple Lisa. Let's run Hypercard. The problem now, hey, if you find something out there, I'm not cheerleading for drive-through or for Wizards of the Coast, but the problem with I'll just go buy this from a used bookstore. Most people that run used bookstores now, particularly game stores, know what they have. The days of I went in and found a white box set, a tan mimeographed copy of Sojkonth, and a true first print of the Dungeon Master's Guide that has the mistakenly included upside down pages from the Monster Manual for $20. That's not. Those times are over. They ended in the early 2000s. Those times are gone. Do I sell a multi-license for Crom for GM to make it? It is, the model is currently one seat. I mean, I can't stop you from pirating it. I would just hope that you wouldn't. I'm not saying you would pirate it. I'm just saying I can't stop people from handing copies out. I don't mind if you use it for other people. If they're like, can you generate a character? Yes, I can. Obviously, I'm 100% okay with that. I tell you what, JS, if you want multiple copies, reach out to me and we can work something out. We'll work something out for multi-seat licensing if you want to buy like a pack of licenses. Yeah, I've got a used bookstore that's up the highway from me, and they're just bonkers when it comes to D&D stuff. I don't know if HyperCard ever ran on the Apple IIgs. I don't think it did. Somebody check me out on that. Sure, JAS. And like I said, like if you've got 5 interested players, and of course you'd want a copy, let me know, and we can definitely work something out. Steel manga, a Babbage difference. Let me tell you something. Python, in which it was coded, will just about run on a Babbage difference engine using punch cards. A Jacquard loom, anyone? And I don't say that as a good thing. It's how primitive it is. I am glad you're here, though, Corpse Kings. I'm glad you could catch some. I don't know what time it is anywhere in the world except over here on the East Coast. Where it is 11:47. Paper tape, loaded in on paper tape. One of these days, I just ought to take the source and just start feeding it to like Chat GPT or Grok and say, I need to convert this to JCL. I need to convert this to IBM job control language. I want this in the IBM S360 tape management system, JCL, please. You're on the West Coast of the East Coast. That's right. Yeah. That's right, JAS. College football starts this Saturday. Roll Tide. Oh, you popped over to YouTube. Very cool. Thank you. I have a strong contingent of folks in Australia and New Zealand who like this show. I did not realize there was such a contingent of old school gamers down there in the Antipodean regions. But let me tell you what, I love all my viewers, and thank you guys down there, down under, who hang out with me for this madness. I'm going to stop at the top of the hour. We've got about 12 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go. So if you guys have any questions, any comments, criticisms, negative, nasty remarks, let me know now. Right. But yeah. Whatever happened to my watchers in Japan? That's a good question. I remember every once in a blue moon, someone will pop up in live chat and this was a few weeks ago. Somebody came in and said, oh yeah, thanks to Google Translate or YouTube's Auto Translate, rather, it's the same company, same basic engine. But I'm able to watch your show, and I was like, that is so cool. That is so very, very cool. I've watched Angie TTRPG. She and her players are in Japan. I've watched a little bit of her live streams because they're on late at night, so that's like 9 o'clock in the morning here. And I've watched some of their stuff. I think they just kind of drift in and out. Yeah. So what, I know a lot of people don't dig on X/Twitter, and I get it, right? I completely get it. It's so weird trying to deal with it. And, just all I just stay in the lane of TTRPG stuff over there. I am amazed, so happily amazed at the number of OD&D and AD&D 1E fans from Japan. It's not a huge amount, but it's more than I thought. It's more than I thought it would be. And we're mutuals. We follow each other, and I talk to some of them with Google Translate sometimes, and it's a lot of fun. And that is not something that that I would have thought would have been a thing. I mean, basic D&D is written fairly straightforwardly, and of course, uh, TSR had so many translations of Menser Basic out there that it was like Hebrew, Italian, Spanish, German, French, Cockney English. Roll ahead, governor. I guess I should roll a d20. But also, Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese, and so on and etc. But Gygaxian is dense stuff. And for somebody to have taken the time to translate that over to Japanese, that is very cool. And it's cool to know about that. What are the best spells at each spell level? Don't fall in to the trap of thinking that Magic Missile is the best first level spell. It's not. The best first level spell is Sleep. That room with 9 kobolds, first level magic user, Sleep Ball. Boom. You can save your party's life right then, right there with Sleep Ball. Second level. You know what? Let's look at this. We've got a few minutes. Let's look at this. I think this is a good question. And given the negativity that I have spread tonight, unfortunately, I think this is a good Delver Says moment to look at. So let's talk just magic users. We can do clerics another night. No, that wasn't really a thing. Cooperative waffles, namely because I wasn't streaming at that time. Didn't really affect me. Okay, so here we got magic users. Your best first level spell is Sleep. Second level, I'm going to go with Web. Yeah, I'm going to go with Web. That can buy you time. So there, first level Sleep, second level Web, third level Fireball. Fireball is the best third level spell. Fourth level, Ice Storm. Yeah, I'm going to go with Ice Storm. Fifth level, Monster Summoning 3. Monster Summoning 3, sacrificial monsters. Buy yourself some time to escape if you need to, or instant help. I don't know. Cloud Kill's a pretty good one. Sixth level, Disintegrate. Or I guess Reincarnation. Seventh level, Delayed Blast Fireball. Eighth level, Incendiary Cloud. And ninth level, Wish. So there's your best spells from each level. I don't illusionist enough to really give you guys a good explanation on that. But for clerics, it's going to be Bless. Second level is Hold Person. Third level is probably I don't know. Third level is kind of a tough one. Continual Light. The utility of Continual Light can't be argued with. Fourth level, Cure Serious Wounds or Neutralize Poison. It's a tie. Fifth level is Flame Strike, no question. Although Raise Dead, right? No, I'm gonna go Raise Dead. On fifth level. Sixth level, Heal. Seventh level, Resurrection. There's your best cleric spells. So clerics and magic users, there's your best spells. Teddy Rex stuck on a support call. I'm sorry. You think sleep is way too powerful? I don't know. I think it works. Yeah, burning hands. But again, druids and illusionists, I can't really speak to their spells. They're infrequently played enough that I don't see their power flexing. I mean, you want to talk about something that's too OP? Phantasmal forces, an improved phantasmal force. Get out of town. Insta kill spells at that level, at that time of day, localized entirely within a character. May I see it? No. I don't know. I don't think sleep is too powerful, because very quickly you're facing monsters that you're only. I mean, you've only got a 50-50 chance of taking down one ogre with a sleep spell. Did WotC release a space RPG today? Space travel TRPG. For some reason, they use TRPG instead. I don't know. Did they? I have a vague notion that sounds maybe they did. We've got a few minutes to check this out. Huh. Yeah, according to the old AI overview here, yes, Wizards of the Coast subsidiary Archetype Entertainment released a new science fiction tabletop RPG called Exodus. It's the same, or it's tied to their upcoming video game of the same name. The RPG is designed by James Olin, the lead developer for the Exodus video game. I don't know anything about Exodus. I don't know what that could be, but that is gosh, that's news to me. But I mean, you know, if it's not built around the AD&D or OD&D rules, then I don't know about it. Exodus, next big RPG, romances, enemies, awaken animals. Nope. No, I don't agree with you, Michael. I don't. I mean, I don't think an encounter with 7 giant rats should break the back of a 7 or 8 person party in AD&D, and yet it can unless you have sleep. So why do assassins have to be evil? Because them's the rules. Now, assassins were actually originally neutral when they were introduced in Supplement to Blackmore. But I mean, a murder for hire, take out a contract on somebody, and they take out contracts on anybody. Good Queen Lilyheart, friend to all children and sweet small forest creatures. And the neutral evil wizard wants her dead, so he can continue his reign of terror. An amoral assassin is like, hey, this came down from the guild, go kill her. Okay. That's kind of why. But I will agree with cooperative. Hold off on psionics. Don't never try them. They're there for a reason, but hold off on them for a little while. Anyway, I hope that answers everyone's questions tonight. We laughed, we cried, we got angry. Tomorrow night, we're going to be deep diving something which I meant to have it in front of me. I'm going to get it and I'm going to show it to you guys before we wrap up here. If I can find it. Did I move it? It'll be a surprise. I'll tell you guys about it before when I put up the media for the video. You guys will know all about it. But I met a really cool guy at EggCon who publishes his own zine called ARG, A-R-G-H. We're going to deep dive an issue that he gave me, and it is AD&D. It is an AD&D zine, and I'm excited to play it. Or to play around with it, to check it out, to see what it brings to the table. I love physical zines, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And I hope to have him on the show at some point in the future. But we're gonna deep dive the issue that he gave me. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Listen, I love you all, and thank you all for hanging out with me. Gonzalo, thank you for bolstering and letting me drop some F-bombs in the chat. Rob Turner, thank you for the throat lozenges, for bringing Alex to visit. Guys, like and subscribe, please. It really, really helps me out when you do that. I just want to have a quick look. Did we gain or lose any subscribers tonight? Let's see. Let's hop over to the studio, and we have held steady. 7334 is our sub count. That is really super cool. I appreciate it, everyone. Thank you for hanging with us tonight. I'm gonna get the heck on out of here, but at least for now, guys, know that you can still be stalked by the horrible owl bears in the closing credits. Peace, good night, love you all.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.